of my motivators family. I'm back and we're here for another topic. I'm Marlene Motivates. I am your life coach. Thanks so much for tuning in. Today's topic is maturing takes effort. Yeah. Nobody really talks about how one day you're an adult, right? And you can be an adult all you want to be, but are you a mature adult? Maturing definitely takes effort for us to unlearn the negatives and to learn the positives. And we're going to talk about some of those things today because people don't want to talk about the actions, the effort that it takes to be a mature individual, to be happy in your own skin. And it takes maturity. It really does. The first thing I want to talk about, it takes maturity to not let everything get under your skin. It takes a lot of effort to understand that we are only in control of ourselves. We're only in control of our peace and our joy. And we can't do anything about what other people are doing. We can't do anything about other people's actions. The only actions that we can control is ours. The only action you can control is your actions. And it takes effort and it takes energy to be able to not allow the whatever, not allowing your past to control your present, not allowing other people to stop your peace. And yeah, and that's one of the things that's why I said maturing, it takes effort, because I know about the old me. The old me would allow other people to break my joy and steal my peace. And as I'm maturing, as I'm healing, as I'm learning about me, is you have to understand that some things are just not worth it. You know, explaining things to people is just a waste of your time, because if a person doesn't really care about how they make you feel, if a person doesn't know how to respect themselves first, they're definitely not going to respect you. So yes, maturing, it does take effort. It takes effort to understand that we're not always going to be everybody's cup of tea. Everybody is not always going to like us. Everybody is not always going to be supportive, compassionate, and understanding. But we got to be understanding and compassionate about ourselves and not letting other people control us, not letting other people use us, okay? And it does take effort. You know, I spent many years in therapy, going through situations, because I always asking myself, why do people treat me this way? Why do people not show up for me? Why do people not support me? Why are people so rude? And things like that. But really, it's not about us, you know? It's not what you have done. Some people just are not good for us. That's definitely, it took some effort, some energy, and maturity to be able to really believe that not everybody is meant to be in our lives. Not everybody is good for us. Some people are toxic, manipulative, controlling, and all those things. And it takes a lot of energy for us to realize that some people, all they want to do is bring pain and hurt into your life. Some people are not willing to put in any effort, and that's why you got to put in the effort to cut them off. A person who is a very toxic person, if you think you're going to come in and change somebody who's toxic, immature, lazy, disrespectful, you're not going to be able to. So maturing, it takes effort. It takes effort for us to, you know, discern, okay? This person is not good for me. This person is not helping me. They're not growing me. They're not supportive. And giving myself permission to let people go. And you have to let toxic people go. You cannot keep toxic people in your life, because if you do, they're going to keep hurting you. They're going to keep being disrespectful to you. They're going to keep treating you the way that you allow them to. And I was so happy when I came to the conclusion that I have to be in control of my peace. And that's a mature thing. You have to mature into that space. You can't let other people get to you. You can't let other people control you. Okay? You can't let other people block your peace and your happiness. And it takes some time, It doesn't mean that it's an automatic thing. Some people get to this space quicker than others. And some people never get to this space because they don't want to get to that space. There's a lot of people who don't want to be happy. It's a lot. It's a lot of people who don't want to be happy. It's a lot of people who would rather be miserable. It's a lot of people. They would rather be miserable than to be happy. And when you find out those miserable people, the people who always complain, and another one is the people who always think that they're right, can't deal with that. I can't deal with that in my life anymore. I'm way past that in my life, If you can't be around people who say, who know how to apologize, and the individuals that know how to, like, the things that trigger you, offend you, and they care about your feelings and not just saying you're sensitive. It takes effort to find out who people are and to believe it. See, you can know who people are, but do you really believe who they are? Yeah, it takes energy, it takes effort, it takes understanding, and then cutting them off. Some people, you just got to cut them off because they're never going to stop. They're going to keep being who they are. And that's when you got to make changes. That's when you got to put in the effort. You got to put in the actions and understand, I got to leave this person alone because they're always bringing me pain, or they're always going to keep using me. Okay? So maturing, it does take a lot of effort. It really does. It takes effort for us to say that I deserve better than what I get. Sometimes we don't feel that we deserve better. I know that was a long time for me, thinking less about yourself. Hi, Miss Eunice. How are you doing? Welcome. All is well over here. It took me a long time in my life for me to come to this space where I could say, I deserve to be respected. And I deserve to only have people in my life that will respect me back. And if they can't respect me back, then I don't deal with them. See, because I used to always go back and forth like, oh, that's my sibling, that's this person, that's my friend. Actually, if somebody loved you like they claim to, they wouldn't so easily run over your heart. They would easily say things that hurt your feelings. They would be compassionate. They would show up for you. See, love is an action word. And it took a lot of maturing for me to actually believe that. If people just say the words out of their mouth, I love you, but their actions aren't proving anything, then that's not love. That's toxicity. That's manipulation. That's love bombing. It's a tactic that has been happening since the beginning of time. People say that because they know that all they have to do is say, I love you, say whatever, and they'll get you to do what they want. But that's not real, true love. A person that really cares about you, a mature person, a healed person, is going to care about what you're going through. They're going to be compassionate, and they're going to say, you should have a seat. Or if you say you're not feeling good, it's not going to be like, oh, you always, you got this, and how come you can't do this for me right now? They're going to be compassionate and understanding. But like my title states, Maturing, it takes effort. It takes time for us to realize that just because I've known you for a long time, it doesn't mean you've ever been good for me. And I came to that conclusion a little while ago, just a few months ago. There's certain people in my life that they're never going to change. They will never grow up. They will never be good for me because they only care about themselves and what they want. And they never think about what you personally are going through. They don't care about what you're dealing with. Okay? So that's why I say, maturing, it takes effort and energy. And if somebody does not know how to reciprocate, you know, show up for you too, is that really a good, healthy relationship? No, it's not, motivators. It's not a good relationship if you're always the giver and you're never the receiver. Yes, Miss Eunice, is so true. And we have to stop. We have to stop letting people use us and abuse us. Hey, Real Odds and Evens, how are you doing? Happy Tuesday. Yeah, we have to stop letting people use us and abuse us. But like I said, maturing, it takes effort and it takes time for us to wrap our minds around that some people aren't who they claim to be, you know? And that hurt a lot when I finally came to that conclusion, like in a romantic relationship and with friends, with relatives, some people aren't who they claim to be. People claim to love you, but does that love, I love you if, I love you and, I love you only if? There shouldn't be any stipulations. There shouldn't be any clauses to that. You know? Eunice says, yes, I just came to that conclusion not too long ago. Either I had to accept that some people may or will never change. Yes. Real Oz even says, facts. I don't think people grasp that. And that took such a long time, guys. Like, I've spent so much time being in my feelings, angry, brokenhearted, all of this. And you're wasting your energy and your time. Just because you feel some type of way about a person, it doesn't mean they care. You know, some people, they laugh. They laugh at you, or they say, you're too sensitive, right? No, you're too rude. Some people are just narcissists, manipulators, control freaks. They only care about themselves. They don't care about you. So you got to really be aware of that. And that's why maturing, it takes time. You know, it takes time for us to see people for what they are. You know, see what you see looking back at you, you know, their actions or their lack of actions, because that's a big deal too. Some people, their actions is just not, it's not good. It's not good for us, and it has never been good for us. But one thing, motivators, is that we don't have to take it. You don't have to be a doormat to other people, okay? And that takes time for us to really grasp that. It took me, I can't even tell you how many years. I've just come to that space just in the past few months that they will never change, or they have never been good for me, or they're never going to support, or they're never going to love me like I deserve to be loved, you know? And that hurts. But then you got to stop wasting your energy waiting for people to grow up, waiting for people to stop being immature, waiting for people to be compassionate. You know, you really do waste your time. So don't. You know, you do have to just let yourself move on from people. You do have to close doors and not letting people use you, because you could be wasting you could be using your time, your money, your efforts on wonderful things. Hi, Smarter Than Your Average, how are you doing? You could be spending your energy on much better things, happier things, peaceful things, instead of being around people who aggravate you and bring drama into your life. No, you don't need that. You don't. And I had to learn that I have to accept it. I have to stop letting people run over me and use me. I have to stop thinking that people will make changes. Or one day they'll be a friend to me. One day they're going to love me back. One day they'll care about me. One day and you're wasting your time. You really are. And that's just what it is. Real Odds and Even says, yes, they have this it's all about me syndrome and can't function once any attention is brought. All of them. Yes, I know. It's the craziest thing. I don't know. I guess I'm just a different person, or maybe because I've healed and I've worked on me. I know about accountability. I know when I need support, but I have no problem giving support to other people. I just don't get the one that always wants to get supported, but never think, what can I do to help this person? What do they need? What are they going through? And there are some people, they will never ask you how you're doing, what you're going through, and they're never going to change, everybody. Never. They're never going to change. They're never going to be happy. You're the one that has to make yourself happy, you know? Yeah, you got to be your own project, right? And you have to do the things to make yourself happy. And that's why I said, maturing, it takes time. It does. It takes time to say, you know what? They've never been good for me. Or that person has mental illness. That person is toxic. That person is a liar. It's a thief. You got to say it for what it is. That person has never been good for me in my life. Maybe you settled feeling like this is the best that you could ever have. I know I can say that about myself. I've come to that space where I can accept accountability. You just settle thinking this is the best that I can get because people blind you, They sugarcoat things, and they get you trapped into things, and then next thing all you're ever doing is helping those people, and you never get to help yourself. And you're supposed to feel guilty. You're supposed to feel guilty because they are not willing to do anything. You got to be willing to want something for yourself. You got to be willing to have standards, and as Nate the Great podcast was just talking about, you got to set some boundaries. You got to put those things out there. For everyone that did me wrong, I do myself right. Well, that's wonderful. That's a wonderful perspective and mindset, and a wonderful way to be. Indeed, Real Odds and Evens. So that's one thing that all the time, every few months, I have an evaluation of my life, and I reevaluate. Is this person really a good friend to me? Is this person helping me or hurting me? Am I being supported or not supported? It's important to do evaluations of all your relationships from time to time, because at a certain point in your life, maybe they would have been good for where you were, and there's seasons of relationships. Some people come in our lives to heal us, and some people come in our lives to hurt us. That's just facts, because it's the truth. Some people come in our lives to hurt us. They don't care about how they treat us. But then eventually, when you finally come into self-worth, value, confidence, learning independence, learning what you deserve, you don't have to be great to start, but you have to start to be great. Yes, that's so true. Happy Tuesday, Sirius. How are you doing? Real Odds and Even says, and it's sad because once they are caught in real life, they run up on here and do the same thing, don't they? It's the same old thing. Yes, good afternoon to Sirius. How are you doing? I'm fantastic. I'm doing great as well, Sirius. Thank you so much. It's one of those things in life that I had to learn. I had to learn that it was okay to make changes. It was okay to be happy. I don't know who I'm speaking to. I feel like I'm speaking to one person specifically, but if you are in a space in your life where you're miserable, you're angry, you have the power to shift that. If you're angry about something, you're angry with someone, the question is, why are you letting yourself be angry with this person for so long? Not that you can shift or change it, but you got to release things and let it go. Not because what somebody did to you, not because it was right, but just because, so you can move on with your life, so you can live a life of peace and joy, so you can get into your purpose. You can do the things that's meant to be for you, and you cannot do that staying in anger. You got to let things go. And I know that it's easier said than done, because I was the person that I held on to anger for such a long time, and I was letting the anger eat me and consume me. I'm not talking to them. I'm not this, and how could they do? And I'm not perfect at all. I would never claim to be, but I'm just saying that holding on to the anger, not talking about things, you know, that's not going to help you. All it's going to do is eat you. It's going to destroy you. Most of the time you start getting sick and all kinds of things behind people, and they don't care about you. Hey, Goddess, D of Love, how are you doing? Happy Tuesday. Yes, Eunice, absolutely. It's so right. Odds and evens. If you don't let yourself be happy, nobody is going to make you happy. You got to make yourself happy, you know? And maturing, it takes work. It takes effort. And it takes you coming to the conclusion of seeing everything. It's like the writing on the wall. It's like taking off those rose-colored glasses and letting yourself see things for what it is. Like, okay, you're fake. Okay, you're a user. You're toxic. You got mental illness. I'm just saying what it is because it's the truth. Living life on the job training. Yeah, living is a job. You're so right. Living is a job. And you can't let people stop you from living yours. You can't let people stop you from peace. You can't stay in the space of harboring resentment. You got to let that resentment go, because that person does not care about how much they hurt you. They're doing their own thing. They don't care you're not in a space of peace. They don't care that you don't have joy. They don't care. They just, whatever, Some people just don't care about the effects of what they do to other people. And that's why you got to be mature enough to leave people alone. You got to be mature enough to let people go. And you got to give yourself the permission to be around other people and let yourself be happy. Living is a job, and I'm not calling off. Yes. Don't let yourself give up. Don't let yourself stop. Let yourself have happiness. And let yourself have peace a little bit. But you got to let yourself have peace in life. You got to. You got to let yourself have peace. You got to let yourself have happiness. And you got to let yourself move on to whatever it is that you want to. Part of my maturity is not just being an adult. It's being a mature adult. And letting yourself say, you know what? Take ownership of what you've done. And then stop making the bad decisions. Stop letting people use you. Stop letting people abuse you. Don't let people disrespect you. Okay? It's just not worth it. Hey, James, how are you doing? This life is meant to be lived. This life is, you're meant to have peace. Yeah. In order to rest in peace, we must live in peace. Yeah, it goes hand in hand. But it means that you got to put in the work, the actions, your behaviors. You have to act like a mature person. You can't keep ignoring the elephant in the room. You can't keep ignoring pain. You can't keep ignoring disrespect. No. You can't keep allowing people to do all kinds of things to you. See, that's why it says maturing, it takes effort. It takes effort to look at something and to not ignore it. Because most of the time people ignore things. Oh, I'm not going to do nothing about it, or I don't want to talk about it. Not talking about it makes more problems. You do need to talk about it. You do need to heal it. You do need to forgive it. You know? Yes, we're odds and evens, that part. Hey, James, I hope you're doing great. You do need to let it go. You do need to stop letting people disrespect you. You know, life is way too short. You know, you never know how many years you're going to have on this earth. You never know. 50, 60, 70, 80, whatever you get. So whatever you get in this life, shouldn't you be happy with it? Or are you going to show up angry and bitter with everybody? Because that used to be me. I was always angry about everything. But then that was up to me too. You got to give yourself the permission to be happy and to not be angry and to not let other people affect you in that way. You know, that's a part of being mature. You got to know who's good for you and who's not, who's toxic and who isn't, who's a friend and who's not a friend. Okay, you got to be able to recognize and pay attention to people's energy, and that definitely takes maturity. You got to pay attention to people's energy, because a lot of people, their energy is off. You know, you can see things. You can see that a person is not who they are, or you just say, it's something not right about this person. Okay, I don't know what it is, and if I knew then what I know now about speaking up for myself and red flags, I would have saved myself a lot of heartache. But, you know, when you don't know, you don't know. And when you're gullible, you're gullible. And when you don't know that you can move on and you don't have to answer the phone calls and you don't have to deal with a person, you know, and don't settle because a person is a friend, husband, whoever. You don't got to take it. You don't have to take disrespect. You don't have to take being used and abused, abandoned, backstabbed. You don't got to take that. If somebody really loves you, the proof will be there. Because they love you, what are they doing for you to make you be your best self? How do they show up for you so that you can keep your oxygen mask on? See, what I had to learn, one change that I had to make, a drastic change, is I had to stop putting on everybody's oxygen mask and learn to put on mine first. I had to learn that I got to survive. I got to breathe. I got to take care of myself first and not always let myself be last. Yeah, live my life saying I don't have problems, I have solutions. Every problem has a solution. Yes, every problem has a solution. Miss D says you have to give yourself grace like you give to others. Yes, and I call it compassion. Everybody calls it something else, but you know, I have to readily allow myself to be compassionate. Like, if I'm tired, then why do I feel like I got to keep going? That's when I apply self-compassion. Apply understanding to yourself. Okay, you got to understand yourself. You got to know yourself when you need a break, when you need a rest, when you need to remove yourself from people because you're not growing in those relationships. And that's why I said maturity, it takes time. It takes effort, right? It does. It takes a lot of effort to grow into that space to say, I don't got to take that. I don't got to take that. Miss Eunice says, absolutely. Life is too short. I am enjoying my life. I love having peace and joy in my life. I refuse to allow anyone to take it from me. I don't allow a place for the devil. Don't. Never allow room for the devil or the demons. Yes, self-preservation is the most important part of life. It sure is. Yes. Yes, indeed, everybody. So I just wanted to tap on for this topic. Thank you guys so much for your support. I feel like this was a great topic. I really enjoyed it. I hope you guys did as well. Thank you, everybody, for your support. Shout out to the mods. I'm so grateful to be back, and I'm going to try to keep this space. Hey, Nate, I'm just about to get off. Um, I'm going to keep this time slot, I think, probably about 2 p.m. on Wednesdays. I'm going to change it to like tomorrow. Like today I just had an open slot, but I'm going to change it going forward. I'm going to do 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on Wednesdays as the live stream topic. Thank you so much, everybody. Have a great rest of your day and mature, heal. Give yourself the permission to let toxicity go, stand up for yourself, respect yourself, know your worth, know that you are enough, and you don't have to take it. Okay? Sending positive vibes to every single one of you. I am Marlene Motivates. I am your life coach for motivation, positivity, and more. Thank you so much. And if you're watching on the replay, leave me a comment below and subscribe. Subscribe. Thank you so much, everybody. Have a great rest of your day.